Scenario: patient comes into office having received a second concussion within a short time period, 2 to 3 weeks.
A question I get asked oftentimes is how many is too many? As far as I'm concerned, 1 concussion is bad, 2 concussions is worse, but there's no magic number. There's no number that says if you surpass this number, then you need to retire from the sport. So it's not really a medical decision based on literature. It's oftentimes a family decision. We do know that when an athlete is concussed one time, there is probably a high risk of them suffering another concussion. That second concussion will probably occur or can occur with less of a blow. So it's going to take less of a force for that brain to get concussed again, and the symptoms seem to last a little bit longer every time they get another concussion. So this is all evidence that maybe the brain remembers. Maybe the brain never ever really completely recovers from a concussion. Even though their symptoms seem to be resolved, they've gone through all the proper stages of return to school and sports, and their impact tests are normal. Is the brain truly back to normal, or is there always going to be some vulnerability? Is there a reset point? Is there a particular time frame that needs to elapse to where that brain's going to reset? For example, if they don't play football for a year or don't get another concussion for a year, maybe 2, will their brain ever go back to normal? And the answer is we don't know, because we've only been treating concussions like this for a relatively short period of time. We do know that the football players that played back in the 70s and the 80s, they're suffering long-term problems now, but clearly we weren't managing their concussions like we are now. So we really can't compare their data, the fact that they're having long-term problems compared to our kids, because the way that we're recognizing and managing them are much different. Back in the day when an athlete got hit, they were confused, they were dizzy, they had headaches, we really didn't think it was a concussion because they didn't get knocked out. We just said they got their bell rung, they got shaken up, or they got a dinger. That wasn't really a concussion, and those athletes oftentimes went back to play the same day as long as they were able. Nowadays we're much more careful with that. Now that athlete that does have confusion, dizziness, headache, even if it seems to be fairly mild, it's still considered a concussion, a traumatic brain injury, and the athlete is held out until they've completely recovered. So we'll have to wait and see down the road if how we're managing concussions now in athletes is going to prevent the long-term problems. We hope we're doing the right thing. As long as they're symptomatic, they really shouldn't be going to practice, because the first thing the brain needs is rest, not just physical rest, but cognitive rest. So while the brain is in the midst of this metabolic crisis after getting injured, it needs to rest.